Much like the industrial revolution swept away companies that failed to adopt machine manufacturing over handicrafted products, the AI and machine learning sea change will wipe out companies that fail to adapt to the new environment. Although it's tempting to think the challenges of AI are primarily technical and to blame failures on technology, the reality is that most failures of AI projects are failures in strategy and execution. However, understanding how organizations can build, prototype, and deliver on data and AI initiatives is the question at the heart of most AI programs. The challenge is to build an operating model that allows for high reuse, rapid adoption, and fast delivery of advanced analytics. In this fireside chat, we have brought an eminent technology veteran to suggest steps to build an agile organization that leverages data and analytics to drive AI initiative in line with organizational goals. Please join me in welcoming Parna Ghosh, VP and Group CIO, Onominda Group. He has got diverse experience in IT delivery and strategies while aligning with business plan. He has global experience in driving IT projects, initiating information security, and facilitate needs for the organizational growth and future business landscape by driving business KPIs in the organization. Welcome, Mr. Ghosh, and thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you, Kalpana. Thanks a lot for inviting me, and it's an opportunity or honor, I'll say, speaking in your media. I have already spoken earlier. Thank you for the opportunity again. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm so pleased to see you today again. Yeah. Okay, so let me straight jump to the first question, Parna. Like, manufacturing industry is among the large number of sectors which are striving and seriously undergoing digital transformation. What is the success level you see in the digital transformation initiatives among the manufacturing organizations?
So, Kalpana, it's a very complex question, but I'll try to summarize, in a way so that everyone understands it better. See, manufacturing, again, it's a very vast sector. So starting from your discrete manufacturing, then you have the repetitive manufacturing, you have process industry, you have discrete industry. So there are multiple types of, industries. See, we belong from automotive. Obviously, automotive falls around 30-40% of the revenue of manufacturing is contributed by automotive, but still there are other manufacturing also, which maybe I will not be able to cover at this point because of the shortage of time. But if you see roughly the adoption of what I say is has tremendously jumped in last 3 years, and especially last 2 years during these COVID times, from the first wave to the current third wave going on, and the adoption, I can tell you, is like rapidly happening. Investments are happening. The board members are asking more and more things. I can tell you, in my organization, if I were to do an audit or I'll do some kind of evaluation, 2 years back we would be our scale would have been around 2 out of 5 in kind of digitalization. Now we are at least 3.5 to 4 out of 5. I mean, there's a significant change happened in the entire scope of things, and I believe many of the areas are going through transformation. Many industries are going through transformation. Many organizations are going through transformation. And people have understood that without digital transformation, survival will be extremely difficult for the future days to come. So I think that is why it is now not driven by the IT teams. It is more driven by the business teams and the top management. And that is a big change which has happened in the last few years.
Absolutely. So what is the level of maturity you see among the Indian enterprises in terms of AI, ML adoption? And is it mostly at the pilot level, or are we graduating towards production level applications?
Good question. I think in case of manufacturing, what I can say is, if you look at BFSI or say other industries, obviously they are on in a very mature stage, and they have a lot of analytics already built in their systems for whether it is customer side or supplier side or employee side or the entire business ecosystem side. But in case of manufacturing, I think the phase is now just going out of pilot and the adoption has started. Say, for an example, in our scenarios, we are now planning to have AI built in for the marketing space. So especially for customer demand management, for sales forecasting, for lot many things. Say, for an example, the RFQ pipeline, management. So many of the areas we are actually planning for implementation of AI. Apart from that, AI will also be implemented in our organization in case of inventory, debtors, cash flow management, and in many other areas. So this is how the things are, moving fast. And at least in my organization, we have already come out of the pilot, and we will be very soon deploying a few of the solutions on cloud for with support to big data analytics and AI coupled together to derive the right business results.
Yeah. So you talked about RFQ management. Can you bit elaborate what is RFQ management?
RFQ is, request for quotation. So say for an example, we get a lot of orders from the OEMs, and we want to really see how much we are able to convert, what are the warm engagements, what are the hot engagements, what are the cold engagements, which are the engagements which are we are able to make better profitability, which we are able to get a better bottom line, where the customers are having more competition or less competition. So a complete analysis in terms of RFQs, and also the conversions and likelihood of conversion. Say for an example, our conversion ratio, say for an example, is 80% of the total RFQs. So can the system predict which are the RFQs we are going to lose in the beginning, which are the RFQs we are going to win in the beginning, and what is the actual scenario? So there is a system driven and what are the changes, and where we are getting some alerts, we can take better countermeasures so that we can convert those the low hanging things into a better scenario. So I think those are the things we are trying to look into in terms of RFQ management, and this is basically in the B2B scenario which I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure, sure. So what are your recent digital transformation initiatives, and how large is your focus on AI and advanced analytics?
If you tell me in percentage terms, so I will put these three into one: advanced analytics, dashboards, AI, and big data. I think 15 to 20% of our focus, energy, attention, budget, in fact, is all involved into this area. But yes, I will see over a period of next 2 to 3 years, this 15-20% will mature to 40 to 50%. The way the speed, the execution is going to happen. And obviously, in many areas, especially say for an example, in security, cyber security, especially in your infra management, especially in your data center management, your risk management area, there AI is going to change the scope very, very fast. And that is how the things are progressing. In core manufacturing, I think it is slightly going to take time, because the use cases and the specific business scenarios are slightly complicated and very, very customized, or I will say personalized. It's not industry specific real issues which we are trying to solve. We are trying to solve very specific business case issues. So that is why the maturity and the process will take some time. And the last part is data is required for AI. So since the data is getting built over time, so obviously AI accuracy will become much better and much faster, and I will say the accuracy will be much better, because data is most important part of the component of the AI ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are those issues, specifically in the manufacturing sector you're talking about, because of which AI adoption looks to be little difficult, not impossible, but slightly difficult?
I think it's more of organization use cases, so which are not generally available with the vendors or the partners, because they also come and learn from you. AI is basically based on machine learning, deep learning. Okay, now when you say learning, the tool also has to learn the way Uno Minda works, or the way other organizations work. So once the tool starts learning the data, starts understanding the logic, the business rules, the rule sets, the business logics, then it starts delivering the results. So currently, if you tell me AI's accuracy will be around 60 to 70%, but I can see over a period of next 2 to 3 years, this accuracy will definitely move to 80 to 90%. So it all depends on the set of data we have, the number of use cases, the scenarios, the complex logics, and the way the business performs, because there are a lot of dynamism. And because of this VUCA world, now the uncertainties or the complexities have multiplied. Now we suddenly went for 3 days of work from home from last Monday. On today onwards, we are working 100% work from home. See the change happening in last 6 days. Why it is happening? Because of the rapid influx of COVID in the entire, in Delhi NCR region. So I mean, the point what I'm trying to say is the business changes are so frequent. If we do not have the scenarios built into the system, then AI's possibility of delivering results will be very, very low.
Yeah,
That's why
absolutely.
because of the data availability and the scenarios, it is taking time for adoption.
Yeah. So according to recent Gartner reports, 85% of AI and machine learning projects fail to deliver, and only 53% of projects make it from prototypes to production. What are the other prominent reasons you see for the failures?
One thing can be, obviously we have to understand that human intelligence is always superior to machine intelligence. So this is one reason. So people still believe on human intelligence. Second thing is, I believe the use cases or the AI maturity is still a question mark, because, like example, there are multiple cloud providers who are providing you AI services, many of them. Okay, now when you look at their algorithms and stuff like that, those are built for very, very specific industry cases, or I will say which are very generic in nature. Now when I say generic in nature, that means those have to be really customized according to the the requirement of the organization. There needs time. And the second problem is the partners. So there are OEMs who are having the AI tools, and there are partners who are actually customizing it. The capability of partners are still getting built up. Say for an example, in 1986 there were only 2 or 1 SAP partners in India. Now today we will be having 2 lakh SAP partners in India. Now in 2000 we were having hardly 100 Microsoft partners in India. Today we will be having more than 1 million Microsoft partners in India. So I mean, things will evolve over a period of time. Like cloud, if you look at cloud 5 years back, the adoption was very, very low. Today everybody is talking about cloud by default. I believe your organization as a media company will be 100% on cloud. Like in our organization we are 70-80% on cloud. So barring few systems, we are 100% we are going to reach on cloud in next 2 to 3 years. Reason these things are getting matured, the providers are getting matured, partners are available, they are able to understand what is to be delivered. This area is another gap area. So I think this too, if can be solved by the industry players, I think things will move very, very fast. And obviously at the end of the day, the results predicted versus results achieved, the gap has to be minimized. So that is where the challenge is at this. That's why I told you 60-70% accuracy is there. When I look at 80-90% accuracy, businesses will be more comfortable.
So the success or failure of AI initiatives has more to do with people than with technology. What are your suggestions to manage the people aspect of AI projects?
So if you tell me, I will have two, solutions for this. One is organizations should start building their own team to have AI, big data, and related services in their organization. This is first point. Second point is the vendors and the partner ecosystem. They need to understand the business, the process, the functions in deep, and not come with very generic things. So many times we go and say, this is the things available, please implement. Now that doesn't work like that. So you need to understand how the organization works, how the function works, how the process works, how each activity is linked with other activities. So I think this knowledge of partners for the business is low at this point. And secondly, internal teams are not available. And that is why you do not have internal champions who can push the subject into the organization and who can at least talk about those subjects. I think that these are the two main gaps. And that is also related with people. So you need to have many people in the market available who know AI, who know big data, who know the data science, who know machine learning. You have people, but the skill levels are not up to the mark. So that is the main reason of adoption delays or something. Today, as I gave you the Microsoft example or some other examples, so SAP examples, because they have large number of partners with the right skill sets in the market. And that's why they're not able to deliver Indian market. They're also able to deliver the global market. And that is what is missing today in the AI space.
Yeah. So data, as you rightly said, is a major pillar to support any initiative around AI or advanced analytics. How do you suggest enterprises to build a robust data set or data pool which is reliable enough for AI projects?
A very good question. I think I missed out this point. So, what is going to happen is many cases, since the digital transformations are ongoing, that is why the data is absolutely not available. So that is not, the problem with the AI partner or the AI tool itself, because if the data is not available, what AI can do? So because the transformation has just started, the journey has just started, at least for the manufacturing industry. And I think last 5 years, I will say the focus is really high, and last 2-3 years, it is really very high. So hopefully next 2-3 years, the proliferation of AI will be extremely high in the market, I will see, because the data sets will be available, the rule sets will be available, and the machine will be able to learn the data very, very fast. Today, the data is only available in the ERPs, or it is only available in some certain CRMs or some supply chain management system. But I am talking about data in every aspect. It can be in HRM, it can be in financial systems or other tools. So once the data availability is high, I think then the tool starts working really good. And obviously the partner and the internal teams have to be in place to drive those things in the right direction.
Yeah. So, how do you think enterprises can build a robust operating model with AI? And
Good question. I think business operating model is one area which businesses are thinking. You see the industry which is BFSI, or I will say healthcare, or even to some extent oil and natural gas. They are having an operating model driven by AI or driven by data analytics. Why? Because first of all, their data availability is extremely high. Their business is driven by data, and which we call is data driven business. And third thing is their management focus is and always on predictions, because they live and they survive on predictions only. Now when we look at manufacturing, still, because we are still going through industry 4.0 initiatives across the board, and things are getting more automated, digitized and digitalized, and more transformations are happening. I think this phase is, we are actually like banking and financial services, which they had in 2010 or 2005. Right now the manufacturing industry is just going through that same phase. So once this phase is going to be over, I think then the operating models will really start evolving, and people will start saying like, through AI, I can predict my balance sheet, I can predict my profit and loss account, or I can predict my cash flows, or my customer, expectations, experience, or any other stuff. So those operating models are still, I think, a lavish way to look at, or maybe not the right way to look at, or the right models to look at. Still that stereotype models will like go a long way, I believe. But yes, future is definitely there where the operating models will come up, and obviously we'll be having more discussions in future on these things. Currently, if you see, it is still, I will say, in a very nascent stage.
okay. So, what are the operational processes which can be reformed with AI applications specifically?
I will say, I'll start with inventory predictions, because inventory is one of the major part of your working capital. So inventory will be one such area where predictions on inventory, whether it is the finished goods which you sell to the customer or the raw materials which you buy from the suppliers, both can be predicted. Second will be cash flow, because that is where the business stands upon, and obviously that's extremely important in terms of your business management. Third will be your debtors, or that's another working capital component. Debtors or the other working capital things, which definitely AI will be able to work. Fourth will be operational excellence. When I say operational excellence, say for an example, what kind of failures I'll be having in the line, shop floor, the quality issues, predictive quality issues, predictive maintenance issues on the machines, people related issues, say for an example, skills. Like skills is a major problem. Which you put a semi-skilled person or a unskilled person or a fully skilled person in one line to get better delivery or not. So capacity planning, human resource planning, these are the areas where AI will help in working. And last but not the least, customer choices, customer trends, and marketing trends. These are the areas I believe, at least in manufacturing, to start with, AI will start working. And obviously, as I shared with you earlier, cybersecurity and infra management, these are the two areas in IT where AI will really play a very, very big role. Say, for example, threat management is one of the areas where definitely AI will play a very big role to understand and tell you, tomorrow we are going to have these kind of threats. Please take care today itself. I think these are the predictive areas where I believe AI will be playing a very, very big role in our organization.
Yeah, certainly. So, what are the strategic and execution best practices you would suggest to organizations, to build, prototype, and deliver on data and AI initiatives?
I think first and foremost, you need to have a small project. Start small. Look at a small project where the success ratio rate will be extremely high, where you get a confidence of yourself and also of the management, and you get a better confidence how the system works and how it really happens. So take a small project, get a success, and move to the next one. Second thing is build your own team. Now, when I say own team, one team should be in your IT team and one team should be in your business or function team. So both should be in place, who should be having focus on this kind of small projects and take those further. Otherwise, everything cannot be done by the traditional teams who are busy in running and maintaining your show. Third thing is allocate certain budget for this kind of innovative projects, and don't bother too much on failures. There will be some failures, because failure is always the root of success. So there will be some failures, but let's not bother about it. And that's why if you target small and fail early, you can take bigger risks in future. But if you fail big, suppose you spend $10 million or something and then you fail, then the risk of failing is extremely high. But if you fail for 100,000 rupees, I'll say, I mean, the risk of failure is very, very small. So my suggestion is start small, fail and progress, build a team, and allocate some budget and a time and some projects for this. I think success will definitely come. And obviously, last but not the least, educate your management, because your management may not be aware of what are the trends happening in the market, what it can do or not, it cannot do. They might listen some buzzwords. Are you doing some machine learning or something? But they don't understand what is going on. So please look at some management communication or business communication, so that you educate your management how these things should be taken care and how these things should improve the business scenarios. And last but not the least, obviously get some relevant partners and use cases from the market. But that will really help you building the capability.
Yeah. So lastly, what are your tech priorities and AI focus over the next couple of years? And how do you see the AI projects maturing inside your organization?
Actually, when we look at AI, we don't look at AI in silo. So we look at, as I told you, big data, AI, analytics, dashboard, and also IoT is there, because IoT is a very, very important part in manufacturing. So these all together, we have allocated around, I think, 50% of our budget in the digital area. So there are non-digital area also, like example, the SAPs and the core applications, where which is completely different. But for the digital area, this much amount we have already allocated. And then the next priority is to focus on small things, as I told you, get certain success. Now we are looking at a marketing trends right now, as I told you. Now how the trends will happen, how it will focus for the business, how it can bring in large data set, complicated data sets into some meaningful results and meaningful scenarios. So we are trying to build something like that around it. And once we get success, we'll go into the inventory area, then to the debtors area, then to the cash flow area. One by one we'll execute. We will not take too many projects at one point of time. Then the risk of failure and the risk of frustrations will be extremely high. So that's why we will go slow. One by one we'll execute, and then we'll go ahead. And when we look at the projects, we look at the application, we look at the AI piece, the middleware, and the dashboard, where the results will be visible. So the entire thing in one single frame or as an ecosystem, so that the results will be more visible to the management. That's how we will be focusing now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Pranav, for a really insightful discussion. And with this, I want to thank everyone for joining us. I'm sure the audience would benefit from your suggestions and experience in driving digital transformation initiatives.
Thank you so much, Kalpana, and hope to see you again in some future conversations. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. Stay tuned to our social media channels for more updates. Stay safe and take care.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.